Choosing the correct blood collection tube for a particular blood investigation requires some knowledge. In this video, I am going to share that knowledge with you. Blood collection tubes are known as vacutainers since they contain vacuum. This vacuum facilitates the flow of blood during phlebotomy. Vacutainers, they contain different colored tops. Based on this color, we can identify the type of anticoagulant present in the tube. Let us discuss each and every type. Lavender colored top indicates the presence of ethylene diamine tetraacetate in the tube. EDTA is coated and it is dried in the walls of the tube. EDTA is a strong chelator of calcium, which is nothing but clotting factor 4. So when you take blood in the EDTA vial and centrifuge, you will get plasma. Okay, because we have prevented clotting. So clotting factors are not consumed. So we get plasma. EDTA tube is used in those investigations where we don't want clotting. We want to preserve the morphology of blood cells. So in clinical pathology laboratory, for sending hemogram, RBC count, WBC count, platelet count and all. So whenever you are sending hemogram sample, you have to send in EDTA tube. Okay. In biochemistry laboratory, if you want to send for HbA1c estimation through HPLC. So these days, high performance liquid chromatography is mainly used for HbA1c estimation. So if you want to send, you have to send in EDTA tube. So HbA1c, it is hemoglobin, right? So it is ultimately RBCs. So remember like that. For hemoglobin electrophoresis, obviously you have to send in EDTA tube. And for isolation of nucleic acids like DNA, RNA also, you have to use EDTA tube. Why? In DNA and RNA isolation, we actually isolate the nucleic acids from WBCs. Okay, so that is why we want intact WBCs. So we use EDTA tube. But later, when we want to do polymerase chain reaction, we remove the EDTA. Okay, during PCR, this EDTA can chelate magnesium. Magnesium is required for your DNA polymerase. Okay, so in PCR we don't want EDTA, but during DNA and RNA isolation we take the blood in the EDTA vial. Okay, whenever you take blood in any anticoagulant containing vial, you should always properly mix. Okay, you should invert. One inversion is one complete turn of the wrist, that is 180 degrees. Okay, so you have to do this. So during your internship, don't forget to do inversion. How many inversion for a vial we will discuss later. Okay, so each colored vial, there is a specified number of inversions you have to do. This allows thorough mixing of your anticoagulant. Okay. Next, we can see citrate vial. This is blue top vial. 3.8% of trisodium citrate in liquid form is used. This also binds to calcium, but this is a weaker chelating agent compared to your EDTA. The major use is for prothrombin time. Most of the laboratories, they don't have that much funds to purchase these vacutainers and all. Okay, so what they do is they take a glass tube and they prepare citrate 3.8% citrate and they fill. Okay, and they will put a marking in a marker. Okay, so this is like this: 200 microliter of 3.8% citrate the laboratory technician will add, and he will put a mark in the 2 ml region. Okay, you have to fill the blood only up to the mark. Okay, so this will give 1 part of citrate and 9 parts of blood. So this is the exact ratio of anticoagulant and blood. Okay, see this 1:9 ratio is very important. Okay, so in most of the laboratories, even these days, they cannot afford this citrate tube, so they are doing this because this is very cost effective. Just you prepare citrate and you add in glass tubes. So when you are an intern, make sure that you listen to the advice of the lab technician. You add only up to the mark. Okay, then only the proper anticoagulation will be maintained. Clear? For ESR estimation, ESR is erythrocyte sedimentation rate. For ESR estimation by Westergren method also we use citrate, but the ratio is different. Okay, this is not that much important for you. This you should know. For prothrombin time we use citrate tube. The ratio is 1:9. Okay. Next one is heparin tube. Heparin tube, the top is green colored. Okay. The heparin comes in sodium heparin or lithium heparin. Okay. You cannot use lithium heparin for the purpose of determination of lithium. Okay. But you may ask me, can we use sodium heparin for electrolyte estimation? Yes, obviously we can use, because the sodium heparin use will increase the sodium level just by 1 or 2 millimoles per liter. Okay, so for electrolyte estimation you can safely use sodium heparin tubes, but you cannot use EDTA tubes. Okay, EDTA will chelate calcium. Okay, so obviously you cannot use EDTA tubes. Clear? And this heparin actually derived from porcine intestinal mucosa. So this is given in BD website. BD is the most popular manufacturer of all these vacutainers. Okay, this heparin tube is used for karyotyping. Okay, so whenever you are sending blood for karyotyping, you have to send only in heparin tube. Remember. Now comes to gel tubes. Okay, so before that I have to tell about the red top tubes. Red top tube. This red top tube can be of 2 types. This can be plain vial. Usually in clinical laboratory they use this term plain vial. Okay, so plain vial per se does not contain any anticoagulant. Okay, so plain vial is plain. Okay, there is a clot activator vial. Okay, both are red top tube. Okay, this clot activator vial contains a clot activator like kaolin. Clear? So red top tube can be plain. Okay, does not contain anything. Okay, when a blood comes into this surface, it will automatically clot. Okay, so plain vial allows the clotting of blood so that you can separate serum. So red top tube is serum separation tube. Clear? To enhance the formation of clot, we are using kaolin. Okay, so that is a clot activator vial. Clear? So this is about plain vial. This is red. Does not contain any anticoagulant. It may contain clot activators like kaolin. After the formation of clot, serum separates. Separation of serum is enhanced by centrifuging. Okay, one important point is you cannot take CSF sample. I used to work in Maulana Azad Medical College during my MD biochemistry days. At that time, CSF sample was being sent in plain vial. But actually, even though we say plain vial, some of the plain vial, they are clot activator vials. Okay, people cannot differentiate these two. So you have to always look into the plain vial. So whether it is written that there is presence of clot activator or not. Okay, you should not take the CSF sample in the clot activator vial because it is not plain. Okay, and whenever you take blood in plain vial, don't refrigerate the blood sample. Refrigeration of blood sample will lead to hemolysis. Okay, so don't do this. Clear? So in the plain vial, there is a small problem. Okay, so when you centrifuge, the cellular components are here and the serum is here. So whenever the technicians, they take the serum, what do? There is a chance of taking the cellular component also. Okay, so this was being a problem. So they found a solution for this problem by these gel tubes. So let me show you here. These gel tubes, okay, they contain a gel. The density of the gel in such a way that when you add blood and centrifuge the blood, okay, once the serum separates, okay, the density of the gel is in between serum and cells. Okay, so now the problem of mixing of serum and cell is prevented by the presence of gel. Okay, clear? This is the use of gel tubes. These gel tubes are costly, but still nowadays these are getting popular. So these are yellow top vials. These can be of two types: plasma separation tubes, that means it will contain EDTA; serum separation tube, that means it will contain clot activator like kaolin in addition to the gel. As I told you, the gel forms a physical barrier between serum or plasma and blood during centrifugation. You should centrifuge between 30 minutes to 2 hours of collection. Don't keep the gel tube for more than 2 hours. Okay, in plain vial, that is red capped vial, you can recentrifuge because there is no gel. But here, because of the presence of gel, you cannot recentrifuge. Okay, so this is a point to be noted. Finally, we should know about glucose vial. Glucose vial is a gray topped vial. This is a plasma vial. Okay, it contains anticoagulant, sodium fluoride and potassium oxalate. Sodium fluoride is an inhibitor of the enzyme enolase of glycolysis. So you are taking blood for glucose estimation. Cells, that is RBC, WBC, platelets, okay, all these cells present in the blood, they will keep on consuming the glucose. So you are taking in a plain vial, okay, then you measure glucose after 2 hours. What will happen? You will get the low level of glucose and you will diagnose the patient with hypoglycemia. So to prevent this, we are adding the glycolytic inhibitor fluoride, okay, we inhibit the enolase with fluoride. That does not mean that you can wait for 2 hours, okay. Fluoride inhibit glycolysis to some extent. Still you have to process the sample as soon as possible, okay. Samples of blood glucose estimation should be processed as soon as possible. Don't wait for 2 hours, okay, otherwise you will get falsely low level of glucose, okay. So glucose vial is a great topped vial. Commonly they call it as plasma vial. It will separate plasma. So we are seeing the plasma glucose, okay, clear. And final thing to remember is the order of draw. From one person, if you are going to collect multiple blood samples for different investigation, there is an order to be maintained. First of all, take the samples for sterile blood. For example, you are sending for culture, so use the sterile tube, okay, first. Then comes citrate, then for serum, then heparin, then EDTA, finally your fluoride and oxalate, okay. So this oxalate means it contains both fluoride and oxalate, clear. So you are beginning with a vial which does not contain anything, that is the sterile vial, okay. Then you are going for citrate vial. Citrate here is in liquid form, okay. Serum vial, it does not contain anything or it may contain clot activator. Heparin vial, it's a dry coated vial, again EDTA and oxalate. So EDTA and oxalate, they are at the final order, clear. So this is from the Tier's textbook of clinical chemistry. Here they have mentioned about the inversion. See the number of inversion. For gray vial, that is the glycolytic inhibitor plasma vial, you after taking the blood, you have to invert 8 times, clear. See, for most of them inversion of 8 times. For serum vial, you have to invert 5 times. Remember this. Now let us revise what we have studied. So we have seen about all these blood collection tube. EDTA vial is for HB, A1C, hemogram, DNA, RNA isolation, okay. What about this plain vial and serum vial? I will tell you later. What about heparin vial? It is for karyotyping. What about glycolytic inhibitor containing vial? It's already written. It is for glucose, okay. What is this yellow colored one? It is nothing but a gel containing vial. Can you see the presence of gel here? So this is a gel. SSGT means serum separation gel tube, okay. So this will separate serum. See, it's written PT tube, prothrombin time tube. That is the blue topped, and this contains what? Citrate as the anticoagulant. Let's come to these three. So these serum vial, okay, they are used for most of the investigation, okay. All your electrolytes, okay. So your LFT, liver function test, the enzymes AST, ALT, ALP, okay, all these enzymes. then total protein, albumin, globulin, urea, creatinine, that is kidney function test, blood urea creatinine and serum electrolyte we write as BUS, KFT, that is kidney function test. So most of the other investigations we have to use what? Serum. Okay, remember this. So that's why I always tell my students to remember only these things: blue vial, green vial and EDTA vial, and about your blood glucose vial, that is your gray top vial. All the other investigations mainly they are done in serum vial. Okay, now answer this question: which of the following are wrongly colored? Okay, see the blood investigation and the color of the vial is given here. This is a lavender color vial, this is a serum vial, this is serum vial, this is gel containing vial, this is the blue vial. You can answer in the comment. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for